Well, thank you very much for that. And did you know that AYALA actually has 105 industrial members, big and small companies producing aids to navigation and electronic equipment for the mariners? Did you know that we have 50 associate members, government agencies, hydrographic offices, meteorological offices, and we have 78 countries, national members in AYALA. And then we have an honorable member, and that is Kees Polterman. So we have United States, we have Senegal, we have Kees. And he has always been a fantastic supporter of AYALA. So thank you very much, Kees, and thank you very much for the kind introduction here. And also, I would like to thank the organizers for having arranged this fantastic conference. I've been here all 3 days, and I think it has been fantastic and very, very inspiring. Of course, it's mostly Georgina, I know that, but the whole team behind the organization and the trip last night has been excellent, and it's very, very good. It's difficult to be here on day number 3 because there's been so many fantastic presentations, so inspiring presentations, really, that I will take with me home. And it reminds me a little bit, because everything has been said, but it reminds me a little bit of my time in the EU. I worked 3 years in the Council Secretariat. And when we planned the big meetings with the ministers and the ambassadors, 28 people, and they went on and on for hours and hours and hours. And we said, normally everything has been said, but not by all. So I guess we have to keep on until everything has been said by all. So bear with me these next few minutes here. And as Kees said, I've only been in the job for 2 weeks now, but I know that almost half of the audience here is part of the AYALA family, so I will have support if I come into trouble. For my short intervention here, I've really taken inspiration, and for my preparation for this conference, I've taken inspiration in the ACCSEAS baseline and priorities report. And it's only 130 pages, and I will really encourage you to read that fantastic document, and I will congratulate Jan Hendrik and Thomas on the work. It is really, I think it's one of the main products really of the ACCSEAS project. It's a very, very good report, and it also refers to the Lloyd's Register Global Maritime Trends for the 2030, which is also an excellent document. And yesterday afternoon, I took a screen dump of the AYALA net. And the AYALA net is something extraordinary. That is 40 of our member states are feeding their AIS, their verified official AIS data, into one server hosted by the Danish Maritime Authority, but it's in the name of AYALA. And then it's again spread out to all the AYALA members. So everybody that has signed up to this system will have a global view on everything that goes on the globe with regard to shipping. And you will notice that we have now also the Arctic region present here, thanks to mainly a Norwegian satellite and also a Danish satellite that gives AIS information up there. So, but I show you this because the purple areas here are the most busy in the world, and clearly that will show you that you pick the right spot to do all these tests that you have done and projects that you have done, because this is really, yesterday afternoon at least, it was the most busy spot on the globe, the North Sea region and the Danish Straits here. So why are they so busy, and why are the areas busy? It's almost geographical reasons. Normally it's a choke point between two sea areas, and it's attraction, like in the traffic on the roads. You have a major attraction, and that is of course the major ports that supply Europe, mainly the port of Rotterdam, which is the largest port in the world, I think, or has been at least, which is the reason why it's so busy here. And there is no doubt that that will continue, because if you read the Deloitte's report on the maritime trends until 2030, and other reports, they all suggest that we'll see more traffic, it will be larger ships, and no doubt that there will be more wind farms and fish farms, etc. And the report suggests that the volume of seaborne trade will double from 9 billion tons to a place between 19 and 24 billion tons within the next 15 years. And that there will be 100 times more windmills within the next 15 years. That's quite a lot. If you go to the EMSA, the European Maritime Safety Agency website, you will find these key figures for Europe. And they are a bit scaring, and that's only for 2014. More than 2,500 accidents, 81 serious, and 51 ships lost in Europe. I mean, the aircraft industry or the air world would not accept those numbers, I think. And I heard that if you compare ship accidents to the air world, it would mean that one big aircraft, one big airliner will crash every day. And I don't think we will accept that. And it's far away from the IMO Secretary General and IALA's accident zero aspiration. So there is quite a lot to do here, at least in Europe and in our area. I took also a lot of inspiration in the presentations we had the first day, setting the scene, and especially from Thomas Porate and Peter Papp. And Thomas suggested that there were 4 main challenges discovered in ACCSEAS. And that was the decrease of space, the increase of traffic, the complexity of navigation, and keeping the navigator in the loop. And I think maybe decrease of space and increase of traffic are the reasons why navigation will be so complex in the future. And keeping the navigator in the loop, I have no clue about that. I will leave that to the Nautical Institutes or other clever people. But the complexity of navigation is really in the heart of IALA. And luckily, I think we have some answers to that. And the answer is, of course, e-navigation, as we have heard many, many times here today. And I think when we speak about e-navigation, I think it is, for me at least, it is very, very important to realize that where we are now, I think it's wrong to talk about a project that will start and end. And it's definitely wrong to speak about e-navigation as something that we can say, no, thank you very much, we don't want it. As some flag states in IMO still are doing, I think, and that some old mariners are still doing, no, we don't want that, we are happy as it is now, because that is not a question of yes or no. And that's why I like Peter Papp's remark very much when you said e-navigation is a journey into the future. And I mean, and the journey has started. But this journey for the maritime world is a well-known journey for many, many other aspects of life. And it's maybe only the beginning of a journey for this very, very conservative maritime environment. If you look at banking, for instance, if your wife empty your bank account here in the shops here just opposite the World Trade Center, you will not be able to buy a newspaper milliseconds later in Kuala Lumpur in a little shop. And they had no help from IALA or IMO. So it's all a question of creating value for the users. And also, I think it's very important, and that's also in the report from Thomas and Jan Hendrik, that the Secretary General of IMO has stated several times, it's also a question of economy for the ship owners. Never forget that. It's business. So when you create these e-navigation solutions, you should always look at a business case. It must create value either for the mariner or for the ship owners that pay for this thing. Well, as I said, e-navigation has already started, and I think we have a lot of results already, so it is there. I have a naval background, been a naval officer for many, many years, and for those of you who are the same, you will agree that 30 years ago we had e-navigation in the Navy world. We called it C3, Command, Control and Information, and the maritime cloud was link 11. The commanding officer had a fantastic view linked from AWACS, from a Portuguese frigate, from a US destroyer. So we really had e-navigation already at that time. So it exists, it's just a matter of putting it into service for the civilian world. Also, I was convinced this summer, this is my sailboat in Denmark, and the pleasure area sailboats, motorboats are completely e-navigated all around the globe. I have everything on my iPad. I have access to wind, meteorological information. I plan the route, I have the speed. I can get everything on the iPad there, and I have sailed for many, many years, and when I was young, I hit the ground many times during a summer break. That never happens anymore with this wonderful instrument here. And even my kids, who had no navigational background, they can navigate the ship without any kind of problem. So e-navigation is here already. This is just a screen dump from another e-navigation tool. It's called the Arctic Web. It's already in service in the Arctic region, and you can see you provide the ship with all AIS information so that they know other ships that are in the Arctic area already, which is nice for search and rescue. You have meteorological data along your route to the Arctic area. You have automatic reporting to the Arctic authorities, and you have a lot of search and rescue tools here that you can use if you come into trouble. You have information about ice here. We take ice information from Russian Meteorological Institute and Danish and Norwegian. So you have all the kind of ice information directly on your chart here, already working around Greenland. For IALA, of course, the challenge is harmonization, and we do that through standards, recommendations, and guidelines. And for example, Peter already mentioned, we have this guideline on global testbed reporting, and as a result of that, luckily, we have a testbed in Korea working with this standard, and I've just been there not a long time ago, and you will see exactly the same discussion in Korea as we had here in ACCSEAS. You will see the same things discussed, the maritime cloud, the same pictures, the same PowerPoints. So it is really already a global project, this thing. It is also a challenge, as Peter mentioned as well, to coordinate all these EU projects, but luckily I've been part of many of them, or nearly all of them. They build on each other's results. I can assure you about that. We had Efficiency 1, Mona Lisa built on the results of Efficiency 1. ACCCSEAS is building on Mona Lisa's results and Efficiency 1. We have now Efficiency 2 has just been approved, and Efficiency 2 will build on the results from ACCCSEAS and so forth. So it's very, very coordinated, really. And I can also assure you that IALA will take the work from ACCCSEAS into account in the current 4-year work program. That's for sure. We will take the final report, we will send it to the committees. We will also look at making a working group for the maritime cloud and the VDS as suggested by Peter as well. We'll look into that. So I think it's a promising future for the maritime world, and I would have been very, very happy to attend this conference. My final word will be to congratulate the chairman, Mike Bullock, the project manager, Alwyn Williams, and of course all the partners for a project very well executed and with very important results, and I promise you that they will all go into Ayala's work program. So thank you very much.